Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another live stream. So, let's see. I'm gonna check for a bit of the reactions. I think everything should be fine. Yes, I see some first people waving their hands. Okay, so this is the fourth part in the retopology process of snow. I've actually already gone ahead and made some more progress. One of the things I really wanted to do is just to go ahead and just keep retopologizing the hair for a little bit, because this is not that exciting, to be honest. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm just wrapping up a little bit of something. There is one last bit remaining that I noticed, and that was the center hair clump over here. And this is a bit of a messy situation because I got all of these triangle fans, which I wanted to merge at the center. Let's see. What I could do for this. Sorry if it's not like too exciting right now. To be honest, I'm just going to leave this like it is right now, because there's more exciting things to do. The head retopology is essentially done. Like, just looking at this, we went over this in the past live streams. This is now all pretty good. The hair is also done, most of it. If I look at the retopology, it's basically capturing all of the forms. The topology is following the hard edges. So all of that is awesome. And what's now left to do, essentially, is the rest of the body. So, where's actually the... Wait, what? I just turned it on. There we go. Okay. So, this is supposed to be a bit more of an exciting session. So, I will start essentially retopologizing all the different parts of the body. The arms, the hands, the torso, the legs, and also the feet, but the feet just really roughly, just because I never really intended, also for rain, that the feet are actually shown. They're supposed to be always just basically only visible with the shoes. So wait, I'm just gonna... Yes. So the shoes are going to always cover the hands, so I don't really need to worry about them. But the head retopology is completed. And one of the kind of difficult things about retopologizing the rest of the body is, how does this all get attached? Like, how do we fit this together? And it is really tricky. Or it can be really tricky. But let me just quickly enable screencast keys. Perfect. There we go. Okay, I'm going to save. And as always, if you have any questions, you can just directly tag Blender Studio in the chat, and then I can really easily see it. Otherwise, I'm just going to focus on the stream and sometimes hunt down questions in the chat, which is time consuming. Hi, did you sculpt it? I already see someone ask. Yes, this was sculpted a while ago. There's more information on the Blender Cloud. You can see the link in the description. The sculpting was already done, the 3D design was finished, but the character never really went into retopology. So this is what I'm doing now. And then I'm going to follow it up with UV unwrapping and more. So basically at the end we will have a finished character that can go into rigging and then will eventually be available to download. But so I'm just going to quickly open up the, yes, I don't want to bother about the clothes right now. And the hair, I mean, this can also just go away. But yeah, I'll just keep it. Okay, so to not like repeat the entire setup that I've already made, I could just duplicate one of the faces over here and press P and separate selection. So now I have this object over here and I can just assign a new shrink wrapping target, which is going to be the body. So now if I move this around, it's actually snapping to the body. So this is already pretty helpful, but I'm actually going to delete this face. I'm just going to start with the arms. So one of the things that I can really recommend is that, okay, first of all, I'm gonna select the 3D cursor and snap to volume for a moment, so I can like snap it over here, and the 3D cursor is immediately just going to end up in the center of the arm. And then I can add a circle, rotate it 90 degrees. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna do that again because I want a circle with a certain amount of edges. And for now, I'm just going to keep it at 8. I'm going to go as low as possible. And I'm going to scale this down so it's kind of over here. Yes. So this is what the actual geometry looks like. And then once it gets shrink wrapped, this is kind of the preview of it. And one of the things that I can really recommend is to retopologize all of these different limbs and parts of the body separately. Don't even try to connect them right now to the head, because that will just make things really difficult. So I'm just going to extrude this. Oh, and invert normals. Extrude it further, all the way over here to the arms. I'm actually going to disable the shrink wrap modifier for edit mode, because I actually want to see where my topology is ending up. Okay, so this is like right at the center. I'm gonna add one just for the wrist. And one over here for the arms. One loop here at the center. 2 right next to the elbow, just because these are the 2 most important ones. We need at least 3 loops for any joint for it to deform correctly. I'm also going to add one right over here at the wrist for basically the same reasons. Okay. So, so one of the kind of tricky things that I can already see with the arms is this is like the most basic amount of loops. Like this would be the minimum required for this to be able to be rigged. But the forms and shapes of the arm are a bit more intricate, so this is going to be a bit more tricky. Also, I am going to turn on the music. And cool. Oh, this is loud. I'm sorry. I don't know why it was that loud. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's continue. Okay, I'm gonna change to solid view for a moment. Test. Well, I think I can hear myself. That's not a good sign. Well, at least if it's all good on your side. This might actually be just the mixer board. It's a bit confused. So, I'm gonna turn on snapping. And I also don't need the floor. I can just turn this off. There we go. Okay, I just want to like match this kinda closely to the shapes, but doesn't need to be exact. I'm also gonna turn on the shrink wrap modifier for edit mode again. Okay. I'm gonna slide this over, but I'm gonna turn off snapping for that. Let's see. I want to like rotate this so that it matches more the shape of the shoulder. There we go. Slide this over, add another loop. Add some more over here, just to keep this kind of even. Now, I think one of the things that I would like to change, and that's also just because I sculpted in some muscle details that kind of twist, like that kind of bend around the arm, I would like to rotate the wrist. So I'm going to rotate it slightly, and you can see that like this line over here is actually kind of supposed to end up over here. So that's what I want to achieve with this. There we go. Usually I don't like to add this bending topology, but in this case it is kind of necessary just to capture the sculpt. There we go. I'm actually going to mark some of these as a sharp, just as a reminder for myself that these will need to be sharpened later on. Oh man. This might actually be a bit more tricky because, like, if I look at this, I would also like to have these sharp edges continue this way. Maybe not exactly. Like over here, it can just go over here. This also needs to be marked as a sharp. Actually, yeah, I still have some weird settings that I would like to fix. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to bother right now, to be honest, with adding a lot of topology. I just want the most basic loop count and the most basic I don't know, just the most basic topology that I need. Interestingly, this is also supposed to be sharp. And this is going to be one of the first puzzles that I need to be solve. This is going to be interesting. I'm just going to select this, to be honest, and I'm just going to bevel it. Let's just bevel it with one segment in the middle. And this is a bit of a weird choice, but I want to see if I can do this, where I have like a bit more, a bit higher amount of loops over here. There we go. Will the... Ah, I see a question. Will the arm be all square grid, or will the retopo follow the muscle more? I'm gonna try to make a bit of a mix of both. So, and that's gonna be the main thing which will be difficult. I want the topology to be as simple as possible, to be these square grids that go all over the place, but this might be too difficult to achieve. So, let's see. To be honest, I would like to change something over here. So right now I kind of merged these faces, so I can just cut in with the knife tool. And this can be really helpful, just for sketching out some topology. And I would like to have this loop kind of lead back into itself. Like this. I can just add another loop over here to keep this topology clean. And move this one up. So now we have kind of this... Oh. Oops. This is not looking so good. Wait. I can just get rid of this loop. Slide it in. So now... Except for this, it's relatively clean. Like, I have this loop going around pretty nicely. And over here for this muscle area, I also have this loop kind of circling it. And this is also now giving me enough loops to crease this area. Now there's still some problems here. For example, I could knife cut in here. Just to get rid of these triangles. Okay, I'm gonna have this shade smooth. Let's see. Oh man. To be honest, it would be great if this over here, these loops, would end up over here on the wrist. Oh, I don't actually have snapping on. Okay, now. There we go. Oops. Okay. I see another question. Did you make the merge pie menu yourself? Yes, although I did do it with an add-on, just because I did it before I was doing much with Python. So, I mean, you can. It's one of the only add-ons that I'm really using right now for tutorials and streams, just because I'm so used to it. It's the pie menu editor. Can make it really easy and helpful if you don't have much coding skills. Okay, now I want to bevel this as well as this one and this edge in the middle. There we go. Okay. Oops. Well. To be honest, one of the things that I generally do over here is to kind of... This is a bit of a messy workflow, I'm sorry. I shouldn't use a lot of the the knife tool because it can be really hard to follow what's going on. Yeah. I would like to make these quads over here. Oops. And then again, like at any point I could just go into sculpt mode, and with a slight relax brush I can like move around some of this geometry a bit more easily. Like this. This topology is way more busy than the one for rain, but I hope it will be worth it. So now I could just add like a couple more loops over here. I can also view the shrink wrap modifier again. Actually, I'm going to duplicate and apply one of them. And now in sculpt mode I can smooth this out a bit more. So the closer it gets to the wrist, the more this whole topology fans out a bit more and relaxes. And I'm going to lose that crease. Same thing pretty much over here for the elbow. Huh. This doesn't quite match up. This one is at the wrong place. Huh. This is pretty tricky. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I shouldn't use the knife tool that much. I also get confused myself sometimes. Of like... Oh well, I can just leave it like that for now, maybe? I shouldn't. Actually, this one is at the right position. This one is not. Interesting. What went wrong over here? Okay, I just added another loop, but I'm not sure that this is the right way to go about this. Oh, come on. Ah. Yes, I want these to be connected. To be honest, like, this is getting really confusing. I'm just gonna start over with this part of the topology. because it really should be as simple as possible. So I'm just going to fill this in. There we go. Okay. First of all, I'm going to inset this. No, I'm going to bevel this. I'm going to select these edges and bevel them with one segment in the middle. And this should give me enough loops to essentially create this crease over here. Actually, let me undo this again, because I would like to, let's see, I would like to do it over here, so it leads a bit further into the arm, like this. And then I can relax this a bit more over here. There we go. Let's see if this works. And then I can bevel this. Yes. Sorry if I'm not commentating much over this. Okay, I can smooth this. I'm going to clear all the sharps that I marked, just so I can mark them again properly. Like this. Okay. Now, this is just the arm. I'm gonna leave the shoulders for now because this is mainly going to connect just a lot to the neck. And instead I would like to move over to the hand. So let's see. I can just again create a new object. And I want to, of course, have this match up with the amount of loops on the wrist. But I already know that that might not happen. So I can try. But there will probably be some adjustments. Like, I can like make just a single, a simple loop around here. Actually, no. What I want to do is I'm going to disable the shrink wrap modifier. And again, I'm going to like snap the 3D cursor over here into the volume. And I will create, turn off snapping. I'll create a cube. Let's keep this as simple as possible right now. Okay, so I'm going to model one of the fingers from a simple cube, which is also nice because it actually matches with the cube kind of profile. So what I could do is I could, with Alt B, actually let's rotate the view a bit. With Alt B, I can kind of isolate the area over here. Wait, no. Was it Alt B? Alt B. Yes. There we go. So now I have one of the fingers kind of isolated. Now I'm going to open up these two edges, these two faces, just deleting the face so I can easily select the loop. And then I'm going to extrude this to the joints. Like this. Again, if you have any questions, you can tag Blender Studio in the comments. I see already one question. Is it even possible to retopo a hand without having loops cross over themselves? Well, I would say yes. We did it for the current film production on Sprite Fright, but that's because the topology and the overall style is so simple that you can get away with it, and the radius of the wrists and the radius of the hands is the same, so you can just lead those loops directly into the arm. But the more anatomically accurate you go, the harder it will actually be. This will be really tricky to pull off. Okay, wait, I'm just going to now bevel this. So we need 3 loops per joint. That's the minimum. And the same goes for over here, but I'm just gonna leave the connection to the hand open for now. Okay, I'm gonna add another loop over here. And this is just going to be for the fingernail. Now, I'm going to select these and bevel them. So I won't bevel them much, but just so they kind of capture that shape of the finger. There we go. Now I can enable the shrink wrap modifier again, because now it's going to be closer to the shape of the finger. Okay. Now, how do I continue? I would... Oh. Is there already a face here? Yes, there is. Well, I would like this to be just kind of capped off over here. Let's see. Bam. Like that. So these loops are leading back into themselves. Like that. Okay, I might get away with this amount of loops. Now I can inset the fingernail and slide it over here. Now the fingernail is something I need to model a bit more in detail later on, but I at least want to have the right topology over here already. Like this. Oh. I also want these loops aligned. Okay. I see some more questions. Do you do simple but detailed Blender tutorials? I did make some Blender tutorials, but they are not really made for complete beginners, or not like they're more for intermediate users or advanced users. So if I could get the chance again to maybe make a beginner tutorial for a topic, that would be great. But right now I don't really have one. Okay. I'm actually going to make one more loop for the middle of the finger. I'm not sure if I need one here, maybe, but I might just get away with it for now. But yes, this is pretty much the topology that I wanted. Like this. And then I can still add like more detail over here for the fingernail, but kind of as a low poly basics, this already works fine. I could just remove the clipping border so I can see the rest of the hand again. I can also enable snapping again. Like that. Okay, and I will add another loop over here. Now, what I would like to do is to only really have to model one finger, and then I can just like duplicate them over. So I can just wait. I'm gonna set the 3D cursor over here, and then set the origin to the 3D cursor. Let's see. That also means I will have to adjust the mirror modifier, and then I can just duplicate. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the shrink wrap modifier. I duplicated the object with Alt D instead of Shift D, and this means that this object, the separate finger, is now sharing the same object data. So if I make changes to one of the fingers, I'm going to make changes to all of them. This is going to save me quite a bit of time. So I can just put them here where I wanted them to be. Kinda. Kinda like this. I'm going to select all of them and turn on the shrink wrap modifier again. Basically like this. Kinda. Okay, this is already a good basis to work from, but okay. But I won't do the same for the thumb. For the thumb, I'm just going to duplicate the object with Shift D. So now, let's just go into edit mode. So for this, I can just delete some of this geometry over here. I just need this. Like that. Actually, I'm just going to delete more. I'm just going to focus on the tip of the thumb for now. Like that. Then I can turn on snapping again and just snap all of this at the right spot. Now that I look at this, one of the things I would already like to change is I would like to add a loop over here. And I want to scale this in, because I already know that I'm going to have a crease over here, like this little crease, and I want that to be on an edge that doesn't have a pole attached to it. Like a vertex with more or less than 4 edges attached to it. Like this. Well, I can go into scope mode to smooth this out. Like that. Awesome. I see a question. Do you recommend so much topology and detail to a finger for a game model? I believe this model is for movie animation, right? You are correct. Yes, this is specifically targeted towards film production. So if you would make a retopology for a game, you could go much lower than this. Film topology is much more aimed to be completely made out of quads, so it can be subdivide it easily for more detail. So you kind of need to arrange your topology in a way that when subdivided, all of those shapes are going to be actually in the model. But for games, you just kind of need to capture the general shapes, the general silhouette. Or more precisely, if like anything like moves, like facial features, that also needs to be retopologized in a way that actually makes sense. But yeah, for film production you need some more loops, you need a bit more detail. Otherwise, everything is just gonna turn into a soft mush. Okay, so this kind of works. Now I can just, I'm going to duplicate and apply the shrink wrap modifier over here. And I'm going to continue to extrude more edges for the thumb. Well, first I want to align this one a bit better. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to turn snapping off again. Extrude one more edge over here, so we got like the 3 edges for the joint. Extrude it again, all the way over here. Oh. Like that. I don't like that, like, I should go out of orthographic view actually. This makes it easier to see. Okay, this works. Okay, and then I'm gonna add one more edge over here. Oops, turn off snapping. There we go. How many parts in this series will you stream adding texture, material, armature, and bones? Well, that's still kind of left to see. Like, I don't know how long it will take, how many streams it will take to finish the retopology. I could very much see this being 2 streams for the body retopology, and then maybe even 3. And then another stream for, or maybe another 2 streams for the clothing, although I could do it in 1. Apart from that, after that, I would definitely make streams for the UV unwrapping. And then the idea is to also go over to texturing and shading. So by the end of all of these live streams, at least the character itself, like the asset, is kind of done. What's then still left is rigging, and that wouldn't happen live, I think. But there's still there's always the possibility. So that still needs to be decided. But I wouldn't be the one to do it. I would still go to like texturing and shading, and then I would be done. Another question. Hi. This project is a paid job, and how long did this Blender file exist? Was the previous model created in different software? Thanks. This project is kind of part of the Blender Cloud, so yes, I am being paid for this, but I'm also working full-time for Blender, so this is just kind of part of my job. Although it is a project that I kind of pitched, so... And apart from that, it was also created in Blender. So there's like time lapses of the entire creation of snow on the Blender Cloud. Like the sculpting, everything. Everything that was done before the retopology. So you can still check that out. Okay. So now I got the fingers. I got the hand, the wrist. Now the hand is still missing. So I would actually like to detail the fingers a bit more before going further, yeah, with the hands. So I at least need 2 more loops over here to get the fingernail. I will detail this more later on, but this should already work. Okay, I'm gonna select all of this, set it to smooth shading, and actually also turn on subdivisions. There we go. Okay. So I think I'm actually going to merge the fingers now. So I can just merge all of these into one object. And that's it. I can still disable, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to detail the fingernails later on. At least I know that I have all the necessary edge loops available. So now, actually, I'm just going to isolate this so I can just work on the hand. Okay, like this. Another question. Was this hard for you? What specifically? The retopology of the hand so far? Or the entire process of creating the character? I don't know. It's like, there's like challenging bits, but I really like it. Like, I like the process. Like, it wasn't hard in a way that it wasn't fun. At least, that's what I would say. Another question, did you also work on Spring? By the way, not here for long, obviously, but really like how your stream is set up with Blender. Thank you. Yes, I did work on Spring. It wasn't a big team, so I was actually working on it a lot. But yes, I essentially worked on the sculpting, modeling, and also like, I would say half of the shading of the characters. So Andy Goralczyk also worked a lot on it. But yes, and then also asset creation and set dressing and that sort of stuff. The entire process, I see, yes. Yeah, in terms of like, was it hard, the entire process? Yeah, kinda. There were challenging bits, like I wanted, especially because I wanted to improve on the look and feel of the character in comparison to Rain, because I made some mistakes there. And I think overall, I think creating Snow was easier than Rain. Because I learned a lot already from before, and it was, yeah, it was just much easier to get Snow done and get Snow pretty far. Okay, now I'm already connecting the fingers, and here it becomes really important that the loops are matching correctly. So that the fingers, especially because they all have a very similar topology, that they actually match up. So it's something to look out for. I see some more questions. In the Rain topology, you had subdivide the corner of the mouth. This way loops directly independent. Yes, direct independently of the mouth and cheek. How did you clean that subdivert? Well, I mean, you can check it out in the previous live streams for the facial retopology. I think I already did it in the first one. Maybe it was the second. And essentially what I did is I just ripped the edge, and then just extruded it further inwards. So it's pretty easy to kind of get rid of that that two-pole that way. I don't have the direct example on the screen, so I'm sorry about that, but you could maybe like kind of go through the previous stream. Maybe you'll find it. Sorry if that's not as helpful. Let's see. More questions. You can skip my question if too involved, if you don't remember. Well, oh yeah, that's the same question. If you want to make a new character, will you adjust existing mesh or do you... Wait, if you want to make a new character, will you adjust existing mesh to look like a new character or start again from a sphere? Well, I would like to create a more complete base mesh library for myself, and maybe, I mean, I would also like to share that then, because it's definitely very helpful to have some base meshes at hand to not completely start from zero. But if you're creating a character in a completely new style, or like or just, I don't know, it depends on how much work you actually save. So if you can save a lot of work by starting from a base mesh, I would definitely recommend to do it. I would also want to do that. Please, can you share your theme with us? It's really nice. You can actually find it in the description. So, because I get that question a lot. It's actually pretty simple. It's just a couple things changed from the default Blender theme. Why can I not? Oh. What's going on over here? Oh, I merged a face over there. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. There we go. I think this is all looking fine. Well, here I made a mistake. I'm actually going to get rid of all of this again. Yes. Wait. Yes, this is my mistake. Because I want these loops to actually completely loop around. Yes, now they're all going through the same, through the fingers in the same way. There we go. Okay, it's already looking better. Can you please review my work and tell me what I'm doing wrong? Well, if you're on the Blender Cloud, you can just... I also have a Retopology tutorial there. You can also ask questions there. I do that, like, I do that pretty regularly, just answering questions on Retopology. But yeah, so that's actually the thing that I would recommend. Another question, what is your mouse set to that you can move vertices by just left click and dragging? I'm actually using the tweak tool over here. So I think by default it's like if you use right click select, it's just right click dragging, but if you use left click select, the default I think is set to box select, and that just means you can just like box select anywhere and just use your shortcuts. But if you set it to the tweak tool, then you can just click and drag any vertex to just immediately move it. It's really helpful, so especially for Retopology. Did you recommend mouse or drawing tablet? Do you recommend a mouse or drawing tablet? Well, I kind of use both, but most of the time I'm using a drawing tablet. It's just my own personal habit, to be honest. I don't strictly recommend everyone to use a drawing tablet in Blender, especially because drawing tablets are not fully supported, I would say. Like, there are some problems with tablet support in Blender, like some minor issues, I would say. Most of them related to the fact that you cannot use a mouse wheel. But I think that can still be resolved. Like, there's no reason for that to be a permanent factor in Blender. But either way, using a mouse or tablet is fine. Unless you're actually painting or sculpting, then I definitely recommend a drawing tablet. There we go. Now here's maybe already where you can see the problem that's gonna arise. We had like 8 loops for the arm, and that maybe became like 10 loops or like 12 loops for the wrist. This is a lot. Like, wait, I can actually turn on statistics. This is already 13 on one side of the hand. So this needs a lot of simplification to work. Let's see. I want to also have this hard edge kind of continue into the hand. Same thing over here. This is meant to be the hard edge. So 2 loops right very close next to one another. So I'm going to continue the same over here. Another question, one where it wasn't marked. Did you create the concept of the character or someone gave it to you? I created the concept for the character, in this case. For rain, I didn't make a 2D drawing, but for snow, I did create a drawing first, actually in grease pencil. So everything for this character was completely made in Blender. Another one. Is there a reason why the Blender Studio doesn't use third-party or paid add-ons in their workflow? Nice work, by the way. I learned a lot about character creation. Thank you. I'm glad. Well, we are we are sometimes using paid add-ons because they still are open source, but that is the actually important point, that everything we do, every software we use needs to be open source. It's just our entire workflow, our entire pipeline is open source. It's kind of like, in a way, like in one way like a statement that you can make any project pretty much. Like, you can do anything just with free and open source software. But it's also that we can very easily share everything. Our entire projects are open, so you could just have complete access to what we're doing. And if you have Blender Cloud, a Blender Cloud subscription, you also have complete access to downloading all of the files. And they're all Creative Commons, so everything is free, free to use and reuse for your own projects for eternity. Question, is there a Retopology Vertices limit for this character? No. The limit is what I set it to be, pretty much. Especially for, like, I think like the vertex count limit is something that you would mostly get just for video game projects. And even there, it's becoming less of an issue because performance is less of an issue. But what I want from this character is the lowest necessary amount of loops. I don't really care about vertex count. I really don't. I couldn't care less. Because it's never really a problem. This is not something that you should really look towards. You should think about your topology. Is it clean? Is it like all quads? Does it subdivide well? Do you capture all of your forms and details with it? Like that sort of stuff. Or is it easy to rig? But vertex count has very little to do with that. Another question. Is it hard to retopologize? Yeah, it kinda is. Well, there are some tools that make it easier, at least from a technical standpoint, but it is essentially a puzzle, and like there are some ways of making that puzzle easier, and you can really really learn to like it, I would say. Like it's like I would say it's a bit like getting into a Rubik's Cube, because Rubik's Cubes are also like a fascinating puzzle, but it's not easy to break into them. Like it is easy if you follow like really good guides, and you can do the same for Retopology, but oh, what did I do here? Sorry, got distracted. There was a loop missing. There we go. So the hand is already pretty far. You can like nudge some of these loops a bit more so that they are more at the right spot, like that. Oops. Okay. Like that. Okay. More questions. They're kind of stacking. When you have a project like this, do you have a triangle amount in mind? How many faces are too many for this type of project? Also, your Blender cloud training is amazing. Thanks. Thank you. I mean, I kind of answered the question already, but yeah, you just need the minimum amount that you need for it to subdivide well and be able to rig it and all of that. So don't worry too much about face counts and that sort of stuff. Okay, let's see. I actually want to scale this one down. So let's snap it again. Like that. Okay. Okay, I am actually going to delete this part over here. And I'm going to add one more loop over here, which is great because this loop can help hold this sharp edge right here. And it can also fill in this volume right over here. I can also go into sculpt mode, smooth this out a bit more with the slight relax brush, which helps a lot. Like that. Oh, and I need to fix some of the normals, I guess. What is going on over here? Oh, shade smooth. Okay, some more questions. How do you tag? You figured it out. Why do you prioritize the loops going through the entire hand and not a simplification modifier on the original mesh? How does Blender finance itself? Or for example, you? Well, I'm hired by the Blender Studio, so for various tasks. So and why do I prioritize loops going through the entire hand and not a simplification modifier on the original mesh? Well, the original mesh is kind of unusable, or like not unusable. I did make a really rough remesh of it. Or actually, to be honest, this is the original topology of Rain's hand. I reused it for the sculpt. Interesting. So, but I didn't want to reuse the retopology of Rain's hand because I would like to do it from scratch to show you guys and to also just maybe figure out a better solution than I did originally. Okay, more questions. Retopology and routing the edges is like a puzzle. So is there any trick to solve it? Yes, there are tricks to solving it. And I sorry. I did create some tutorials on the Blender Cloud. You can check them out on Retopology. And there are definitely tricks you can use to make Retopology easier. Let's see. It's essentially like most of Retopology is the same puzzle over and over again, or like the same principles that you need to continuously apply. So once you kind of have the hang of it, like, I would say yes, absolutely. You can easily retopologize something. And that's also the reason why, like, some people, like, retopology is tedious. That's definitely the case. And I would say probably more and more over the years, we will see retopology being automized to a certain extent. Like, all the tedious bits are going to just be automatic. But you still need someone to solve that puzzle, to define what is important for the end result. And that is that, and those main kind of puzzle elements, the main principles, that's what you need to pay attention to the most during retopology. It's not the tedious bits, like how do I snap correctly, or like yeah, how does this work, but more just how do all of these edges connect with each other, and how do the, like, what is important for good retopology to function. Sorry, I'm not going much into detail on this. Okay, turning on the subdivision surface modifier. This is already looking kind of nice. More questions. Do you think auto retopology will completely, that's actually what I just explained, take over everything, or will manual retopology still be needed for models that deform? I mean, completely automatic retopology, I think, might also be more and more, like, better and better over time, but semi-automatic retopology is the way to go in the future, very likely. I will get back to questions in a moment. Okay. So one of the things I would like to do right now is just to extrude this further inwards, add a loop over here, and fill this in. Same thing pretty much over here. Enable snapping again, and fill this in. Now this is kind of where I will stop with this simple extrusion. Now it's gonna be a bit more complicated, because there's this hard edge going around the thumb over here, and I would like to have that. Okay, I'm gonna get back to questions. If you create a face in a corner, do you have to pre-select a specific vertex in order for it to create the correct face? Sorry, I don't understand. Maybe you're talking about the F2 add-on. I'm a complete beginner. Kindly advise I should start from the 3D works. Sorry, I don't have enough time to go over that sort of topic. Let's see. How do you get the details back on the subdivided mesh? Will you bake normals back onto the retopo mesh, or do you use displacement? How many times will the final mesh be subdivided? Well, since it's a very stylized character, or like fairly stylized, I don't think I will need to bake any detail information in. I think with a pretty solid retopology, I can capture all of the shapes that I need. And how many times will the mesh be subdivided? I would say at least once, but very likely twice for rendering. And that's pretty much it. There we go. Okay, now on the palm and on the back of the hand, I would now really like to get rid of some of the loops, but I don't know how many. So that's something I will need to find out in a moment. And for that, I need this to properly connect back into the wrist. So I'm actually going to get the wrist back. There we go. How many is this actually right now? This is 10. 10 vertices. 10 edges. And right now I have a lot more. So some of this can be resolved. Like I could, for example, loop some more into the thumb like this. This is very valid. But I would also need to do it over here so it loops perfectly around. Let's see. I think I would need to like do something a bit different over here. Like, okay. Yes, I'm gonna get rid of this face. Let's see. Actually, one moment. Okay. Okay, wait. I'm gonna go through some questions real quick, just so they don't stack that much. Will you do a live stream of creating VFX with Blender, like creating muzzle flashes? No, I'm not that much of a VFX artist. After the retopology is over, is there going to be a need for subdivision modifier except while rendering? It would be great to sometimes have a subdivision modifier on for at least one subdivision to see something closer to final, but the character should also work without a subdivision surface modifier. Definitely. Would I get arrested if I took the mesh from rain or snow and use it to remesh my own model? No, it's all free to use. It's all Creative Commons. Are you looking at reference 2? Right now, no. I'm doing this a bit from like experience and memory, but also just based on what I need for this retopology. It's a bit more tailored to this specific sculpt. So looking at reference is not really necessary, at least for me, because what it would just lead up to is maybe a retopology that is more meant for another character and not mine. And the last question, is there a vertex limit in Blender? I mean, in Blender in general? Sure. I mean, you can't go to infinity. At some point, the performance is just going to die. But you can go pretty far. Okay, let's see, actually. What I would like to do is, now here at some point, I would like to branch this off like this. And I would like to do it already here so I don't have to deal with a pole directly on this crease. So this edge is directly on this sharp line on this crease. And then it continues over here like this, essentially. Like that. Now, but this is the tricky part. I want to finally get rid of some loops here. The hand is getting too dense. This is insane. So what I would like to do is I would like to merge some of these vertices right here. So I get something like this, where I have these diamond shapes. Same thing over here. Like this. I will need a few of these, probably. So let's just try this as well over here. And again, I can just get rid of loops over here to make this easier. I have complete control over where I need my loops to be. Well, actually, to be honest, I would like some reference at this point. But I'm just going to open up rain. Let's see. I still have rain over here. And I can just go to rain.blend. Perfect. So her hand topology was a bit simpler. Yes. Also, I did some mistakes here. But yeah, there's some parts that I regret a bit. But I did a thing where over here on the palm, I already inserted these diamond shapes to get rid of a lot of loops. And on the back of the hand, I did not. Or like only twice right here, pretty much. Just redirecting some loops back. Also redirecting some loops into the wrist. So this might be the wrong way to go. Yeah, to be honest, I would like to try this. Just to redirect them back into the thumb. Okay. Go. Now, I'm probably going to do a similar thing that I did for rain. And that is, I have these two loops over here right next to each other. And what I did for rain is I just looped them back into each other right here. Which would be a nice solution, but I also have this hard edge over here, so maybe that is not going to be the best solution. I will see. Let's see. Okay, now I can just smooth over this a bit. So I'm not a huge fan of how this looks right now. Like this part over here, that's not great. Maybe it can work. Like, I'm not a huge fan that it happens twice right here. Okay, I'll just keep going for now. Like this. To be honest, I'm gonna get rid of this. Like this. Okay. Oh man. This is super messy. But yeah, I'm really not happy with this. So this will need some adjustments. Like, I don't want to make such a messy area for the wrist. I see another question. You used a brush in edit mode to smooth the vertices. What is the name of that brush? Can you show? Well, I mean, I quickly switched to sculpt mode, and I used the slide relax brush. That's kind of like for sliding and well, smoothing or relaxing areas without changing the shape. So that's actually really helpful for retopology. Let's see. Oh boy, yeah, this is not good. I'm actually thinking of adding another loop over here in the middle. This would be helpful. Means I need to get rid of this one. That. Well, that works. Okay, now this is tricky. Okay, I want to add another loop, kind of like going around here. I want that sharp edge over here to be highlighted. So for that, I actually, oh, I can just merge this. Let's see, does this actually work? Oh man, this is really not pretty. Yeah, I'm gonna open this up again. Whether later there will be an animation process. I see someone ask. Yes, well, this is ideal. This will ideally be used for animation as well. So I'm actually going to get rid of this vertex. I might actually just add one of these areas over here. Oh, I actually removed auto merge editing. That's not smart. Wow, this is really not looking great over here on the palm. So I need to figure this out. Screw it. I'm gonna fill it in like it's nothing. Like this. I see another question. Why not start with the hand and extrude the arm from that instead of trying to make them match? Well, that's one way of doing it, but the arm and the hand have different requirements in this case. Like, they need their own topology, and there's still ways of fitting them afterwards, and I would like to show that, but I can only really do that once the hand is in a better state. Because right now this is all a bit messy. Well, I'm not gonna polish the hand much. Like, I shouldn't. Not yet. Let's see. Oh man. There we go. How many do I have now? 16. Well, in theory, 6 too many, but I can also add a couple more to the arm. Oh boy. Yeah, not a huge fan of how the hand looks right now. Just the palm and the back of the hand is not very nice, like these areas. Just gonna make a hole in them. And this area over here, I mean, this is okay, but this is not good. So how do I fix that? Okay. the most pretty topology. Well, at least it would be functional. Why did you not use the diamonds near the fingers? Well, to be honest, it was a bit of a weird choice to add the diamonds like right around the fingers, like next to the knuckles on rain, because the part that's going to move less is the back of the hand, so that's actually where I would like these triangles to be. Makes it less complicated. I don't want to have it like really near to the wrist, and I don't want to have it near the fingers, so I'm just gonna put them here. Although this is also not ideal. Yeah, I think I might just not get around it. Like, I need to... what is going on? I'm kind of locked into something. I don't know what. Now it works. That was weird. I see more questions. For how many years have you been in Blender in the Blender industry or 3D industry? Probably since I would say, like, in the 3D industry, it would count that I would say 2014, and Blender in general, I mean, I've been using Blender since like basically for 10 years now, but oh god. But working at Blender, I've been doing that for essentially over 3 years now. You told me to check the Retopology tricks video in Blender Cloud. Where do I find? Please tell the title of the video. Nah, it's not a specific video. It's like, it's all of the lessons on, it's on the Stylized character workflow. That's the main course where I have a Retopology chapter, and there I'm going over all of the main things to know for facial retopology mainly. But that just, you can just really extract that knowledge to any part of the body, or like any retopology really. Yeah. Not super happy with how the palms turned out. But it is also just, it's not that like if I would have duplicated another topology that it would look immediately better. It's also just because of that that loop that's going over here that is just causing problems. See another one. Whoever you pass this model for rigging, just tell him not to see the hand. It's going to be our little secret. Of course. No one will ever notice. I see like Falk comment like, by the way, there's a patch now for the shortcuts for Grease Pencil too. That's amazing. Like I was asking for that, where like I noticed in Grease Pencil there's missing shortcuts for increasing or decreasing the brush radius. The other ones, not F. So that's now actually added. That's amazing. Okay, I need to check that out as soon as possible. Oh man, I really don't like how this looks. Could I just somehow do this? Then these lead perfectly into one another. I could just... oh. Merge these. So this is still a straight face. Let's just... oh! I actually deleted this? Yeah. No, this doesn't work. I'm gonna undo this. Undo, 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 undo. Undo 50 times. There we go. So what do I do with you? This little rogue triangle right here. I see some more questions. Are triangles or n-gons here, are they really a big problem? Well, they can be, because they cause weird problems for, essentially, when you're subdividing the result. Sorry, got like, again, like in the comments, Vivian, yay, the brackets are now a thing, or soon. Well, Falk mentioned it's a patch, so I'm gonna check it out. Maybe I wonder how long it will take for review. But it should mean that in the version 3.0 of Blender, really soon, there's some new shortcuts. Amazing. Are you listening to songs? I see someone ask. Yes. I have like a playlist running in the background of an artist called Stevia Sphere, or like calling himself Stevia Sphere, doing like some really great music. I have a playlist in the description of what albums I'm using. Why are there so less viewers? You're doing great. Thank you. Oh, I mean, I have a lot of viewers. It's like right now it's like what, 150? That's insane. I mean, 150 people who want to watch me do retopology. I would say that's a win. There's nothing to complain there. Yes, this is the place where grease pencil news suddenly dropped. I see someone. Yeah, I see it in the comments. It's great. Okay. I want this to completely loop around, maybe. That would be great. Like this. Okay, I think I'm pretty much ready at this point to just try to connect it to the wrist. So I'm gonna delete one of these over here. And what I would at least like is... Wait, I'm actually going to just extrude one more over here. And I'm going to go into edit mode on both of them. And I want them to meet kind of in the middle. So over here. This is tricky. Here we already have one problem, one triangle. This can be solved. Like, do this. This can be a not a triangle, a diamond. Gonna remove. Oh my god, I don't even know how auto merge editing is handling multiple objects being in edit mode. This is interesting. So I'm just gonna turn it off for now. Another triangle. And done. Okay, so there's only 2 triangles. That's great. So what that means is that if I would just continue over here, they would eventually meet. I could try that. Just do this. One more. Do this and then merge them. Okay. So, I mean, this means I can already start to merge the... I could already start to merge the hand with... Oh. With the wrist, but I'm going to keep them separate for now. So, let's see. Perfect. Okay, because I want to really have all of these different elements of the body as separate objects until all of them do actually connect. Because if you now would like try to connect this to the shoulders and then you need to add edge loops, they would just like completely go through the arm, then through the fingers and the hands, and it's a mess. So what I generally like to do is to keep this separate. So what I can do right now over here is I can start with the torso. So I'm gonna put the cursor to the world origin and I'm going to add a cube. Like this. For the mirror modifier I'm gonna use clipping. I'm gonna remove the face in the middle. This. Also, I'm gonna remove... Ah, come on. These faces over here. There we go. Let's apply the shrink wrap modifier. I see some more questions. Does working for Blender Studio give you the power to make direct feature requests? Well, kinda. I mean, we have the same amount of power as any other user who's really involved, I would say. But what we do is we provide direct feedback. So it's not that we can just request features. We can request features that are important for the development goals of Blender, and like especially when it's tied to, for example, I'm gonna give an example. Like we are at the Blender Studio working on the film Sprite Fright right now. And Sprite Fright is very much aligned with one of the big development goals, which is the asset manager. So, like, not asset management, but the, what is it? I mean, asset manager is part of it, but it's also the overrides. So in general, more of these general workflow features. And for that, we are the ones who are directly testing it most of the time. So we also get, I guess, like you could say, like rights to give like feature requests, but I don't really see it that way. There are advantages to working at Blender because you are in direct contact with the developers. Let's see. To be honest, I'm going to do a very similar thing as I did for Rain, which is I won't really bother about the torso, the topology, to capture all of the shapes, because I don't plan to have him shirtless. So the idea is to always have the well, the clothes on top. So I don't need to put that much detail into the retopology. I see someone ask, will you animate this character and will it be on the web like free models like Rain? Yes. Well, I'm personally not going to animate it, but the Blender Studio might. I like the involvement of like, oh, you have the perfect amount of time and so it should match. Like people are like really rooting for me. Is it harder doing this live, especially when it doesn't all go smoothly and quickly? Well, kinda. I mean, you're kind of getting like, I am a little bit distracted, but you are getting a bit more of like the live process of actually like creating this. So there's some value in there. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna push this up. Oh, I don't want to push it that much up. Let's see. One of the shapes that I do really want to capture is the chest. So for this, I am going to create some specific loops. Oops. Yeah, this is not something I want. There we go. Yeah, I am at least going to... I am just actually going to add some geometry just to capture some of the shapes. I'm a liar. Just because it's not too complicated. I think it's not really in the way. Is it harder doing this live? Oh, I saw this question already. Are you working remotely? Well, a bit on and off. We're like some of us are working here directly at the Blender headquarters, but most, I would say, are working remotely. It's a bit of a mix. We can't have too many people at the studio. Oh wow, the chat wasn't scrolling down. But why do we need to do this? I don't have the context to that question anymore. Sometimes even at a deep technical level, so the feature request can be very pinpoint. That makes it easy to implement. Haha. Have you ever had the feeling of failing or messing something up that you want to do it perfectly when you were a beginner? Absolutely. Yes, it can be very time intense, very demanding. Trying to make something perfect, but I don't know. Like nothing is ever perfect. I would say you're kind of getting it close enough. And it's interesting when you like look at the one of the things that I noticed like during film productions here at the studio, or like in general, I mean, you kind of have a minimum requirement for how much work you need to put into something for it to look good, because if you work to perfection on everything, then the project will never be finished. So choose your battles wisely. I mean in Blender. In case of projects in production, do you get sufficient time for completing models, or is it deadline oriented and have you to hurry up? Well, it's a bit of both. We do set ourselves deadlines and we kind of put as much effort into it to meet those deadlines. So it's not like we're completely pushing ourselves past our limit to meet arbitrary deadlines. The deadlines are realistic, or like we're trying to set them to be realistic. It's good planning after all. I heard many CG artists use external app like 3ds Max for simulations. Do you use it too? No. We're just using open source software. And on a personal level, I mean, there are some applications that I like to use, or like also for specific tasks or like pastime projects, but most of the time I'm also just using Blender. Let's see. I think I'm just gonna extrude this inwards. Just so I can get that shape of the shoulder. See people asking if I can show specific types of specific topology, and yeah, but it's still kind of work in progress. I don't know if this is the best reference for anything right now, but it's working. I see someone ask why the solidify modifier. It's a neat little trick that I learned to hide the topology in the back. It's actually really nice. I love it. But this is not really necessary. It's the other ones are more important. I'm actually going to disable the subdivision modifier again. Let's see. What can I do for this? Oh, come on. Do you get any inside news on sculpt layers? Well, it's planned, but there's no news yet. We need a better retopology overlay, yes. And I mean, there's still a task for it and a really good prototype, but it was never finished, which is kind of sad. But if retopology gets some more development time at some point in the future, I think the retopology overlay is the very first thing that needs to be finished. But there's more things to do, of course. Go. Now the shoulders are going to be tricky. They always are. think I'm going to actually go into edit mode on the arm as well. Because now I can see that I might actually need a bit more loops. Like if I would add another one over here, this would connect much more easily. Right here. Actually gonna get rid of this face loop over here. Okay. This should also be a shop. Oh. Now this is interesting. If I'm editing an object that is not active, it's actually much slower. Yes, this is actually much slower. Ooh, it's much slower in general. Well, I could turn off the... It's maybe because of the... it's actually because of the poly count, I guess. Or maybe just because I'm editing multiple objects at the same time. Could be. There we go. I see a question. Why do you retopologize the body if the rig, if in the rig it will be deleted? It won't be deleted. If anything, it will be hidden. And also, one of the reasons why I retopologize the body, even though it will be hidden by a shirt, is that I can duplicate this topology for the shirt. So this will actually help a lot. I would like to drag this further upwards in sculpt mode, because I would like to have this edge still be the center loop for any sharp edges. Same thing for this one. Over here. Kind of like this. Well, but to be honest, I'm kind of running out of time. I've been already streaming for more than 2 hours, and it would be good to wrap this up soon. Campbell has been looking into potential optimizations in mesh editing performance. Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, that's still one of the one big talking point, the mesh editing performance, which definitely needs a speed boost. Let's see. This is not the most typical topology that I would use. For rain, I was showing something very different, to be honest. But this is maybe a better topology for the purposes for this character, essentially, for snow. Just because it is respecting his shapes much better. See. Oh. Yeah, now if I just like select all of these objects and go to edit mode, this is the current retopology. So I mean the head is already done, but and I wouldn't want to change anything here. There's still plenty I can adjust on the chest and on the just the torso in general, so also this matches up better, but at least for the neck I can still make adjustments, but I wouldn't do it on the face. The arm could still use some extra loops, so I could remove some of these diamonds over here on the hand, which would make the topology much more clean. This is all working pretty well already, but I would also want to add like maybe like 2 loops over here, both of which could resolve some diamond situations. Yes. But that is all stuff for next week. So I would probably stop right here, so I can also switch to Eevee. Nice. For basically the entire time I was not working in Eevee. But this is looking really good. This is already pretty good progress. The hand needs some work. The hand needs some love, but I guess in the next stream all of this will be much more polished, so these areas are much more final, and then the legs and the feet shouldn't take that long. So I would just say see you next time. And have a nice week. I will be streaming on Thursday again. And okay, this is goodbye. Bye.